I'm going to give you 4 reasons why I would choose the redesigned 2025 Infiniti QX80 over the rivals. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and it has to start off with the design of this vehicle. I think they did an amazing job, keeping the Japanese heritage plus the 21st century look with the piano LED daytime runnings that go into the top portion of the grille, and the grille just seamlessly goes downwards, integrating into the LED headlights, and a massive air curtain with front parking sensors and a standard 360-degree reverse camera. So when you're thinking about rival perspective, now you're getting something that is upscale, just like a Cadillac, a Volvo, and going against the Germans. This will lower 2.8 inches, making it an easy entrance, as well as for cargo when you're getting the air suspension, which starts standard on the Sensory trim. All trims will receive a digital dynamic suspension, which is the first reason why I would choose this over the rivals. When we're talking about a full redesign, Infiniti actually did that. They changed the transmission to a 9-speed. They tweaked the V6 engine that was out of the Red Sport 400. So we're getting 450 horsepower with 516 pound-feet of torque out of the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. Now that's up 50 horsepower from the prior gen and 103 pound-feet of torque. MPGs is up about 10%, Infiniti is claiming, at 16 for the city, 19 for the highway, and keeping the same towing capacity at 8,500 pounds. I'm kind of interested what owners say, so if you do own one of the new 25s, say something in the comments about the towing capacity and the ride. 3 to near 4 decimals quieter than the prior gen. Talking 14 years in the making. I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing with 22-inch wheels that start on the Sensory trim 20 inches standard. Going against rivals like BMW and Mercedes, they're all going to have a higher MSRP, and when you start pricing it to this, because it's in the 6 figures, it's going to have more performance going there, whereas every trim is going to have the same horsepower and torque. And going against Volvo, Mazda, Acura, Lexus, all of them are going to be more expensive except for the GX, in which if you put the same features next to this, the only real difference is going to be capabilities off-road. So the savings is going to trickle in on all trims when you go into the redesigned QX80. The rear is going to have LED taillights, over 300 LEDs, and it's going to have that piano shape that goes across the whole rear with the Infiniti script, and the lower is going to be a little bit more settled with reverse parking sensors. And when you get into the Sensory, this is the sweet spot, which is the second reason why I would choose this over the rivals. You're getting a digital rear view mirror, 360-degree reverse camera, plus a 3D camera. You're getting almost all the luxury and safety as the Autograph. You're only going to be missing a few features, and you're going to be saving about 10 grand. Now, when you compare this against the Germans, you're going to have a significant savings, but then on the performance side, it's going to lack. But even with that said, the twin-turbo V6 used to come out of the Red Sport 400, which they have discontinued all of the sedans this year, which is a con to me. But at least we're still keeping this engine, because if you go down into the QX60 this year, they've dropped it to the VC turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which is out of the QX50 and QX55. So you're not going to receive a V8, and the only way you could get a V6 is this way. Motion liftgate starts on this trim, power liftgate, going into 22 cubic feet of storage, which is an increase of nearly 2 cubic feet for just the rear. It will also lower to make it a little bit easier to access the rear. We have a home plug. Underneath the floor gets a little bit of storage, and like last year, tucked underneath we'll have the spare tire. And to raise the suspension or lower it, you can do so right here in the back. To split fold the third row, simply push the buttons and it will go down, increasing to 59 cubic feet of storage, which is about 10 cubic feet of storage more than the last gen. And you do the same thing for those captain seats that will increase to around 101 cubic feet of storage, which is over 6 cubic feet more than the prior gen. Semi-aniline, pointed leather, first and second row, heated, ventilated seats. You cannot option ventilated or cool seats on the base trim. 14-way power seat adjustment with massage seats. Clips 24 speakers start on the sensory trim, memory for the driver and passenger. The new QX80 keeps headroom and legroom with a sufficient amount for the front, with a redesign that is well wanted because it's been 14 years. Starting with the dashboard, Infiniti. You're going to have the open wood pores that starts on this trim going into two 14.3 information displays. This trim also starts with the digital rear view mirror, or the smart rear view mirror. And we have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto wirelessly. Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, and look how seamless it just goes into play. Another thing that I like about the new QX80 is you have a dash cam for the front and the rear. You can see it here. You can record the event if there's an accident, so you don't have to worry about purchasing anything like that with Amazon Alexa. And you have an interior dash cam that will start on the autograph. On the gauge cluster, you can change the configuration as well. So I have it in the dynamics. You can change it into elegant. And you can change that into enhanced. Now with this, you also have a toggle switch that you can go through different settings and information through the gauge cluster, all with the touch pads on the redesigned steering wheel, leather wrap, heated multi-function with the paddle shifts. Heads-up display starts on the luxury, and a 9-inch HVAC for the front and the second row. You can also change your driving modes right here. So you can put it on your sport mode. And you'll notice it delivers a haptic feedback, so that way you know what you're pushing with it. Push to put it into gear, to raise and lower the suspension, and to put it into the 360-degree reverse camera, which is standard on all trims. We have the 3D view, which is a first for Infiniti. You can go all around the vehicle. You can also change different layouts, so you'll be inside the cabin and you can see through the hood. And you can see on both sides, as well as all around the vehicle for a far distance. Here is going to be a little bit more sporty. It opens up into a wireless charging pad. USB ports open up here, and we have the redesigned key fob for Infiniti. Open up here, the autograph will give you a cooled box, otherwise it's a deep storage pocket with a little storage lip. And the configuration of the dashboard into the door panels, I think they did a great job just with the stitch work, the gloss black. They just made it pop, and you still have physical buttons underneath the infotainment screen to turn on and off the sound system, the volume, and to change the tracks. Now you're gonna have some storage underneath here, and on this side, with that pass-through, you have a 12-volt charger, and the door is going to have soft materials everywhere where it needs, with the gloss black elements, one touch up and down for all the windows, and a long storage pocket with a beverage holder carved out. For the second row, captain seats, headroom's not an issue. These are also power adjustment 4 different ways, and you can adjust it forward with 17% increase in space for the second row. Storage behind both of the front seats, a 7 or 8-seater configuration will be on the Pure and the Luxe. The third climate control, heated, ventilated rear seats, USB ports, a 12-volt, and the autograph, you'll have a center console with a touch screen for your massage seats. And the third reason is because the biometric heated and ventilated seats for the first and second row, which no vehicle has done this yet. Door panel is going to have the same materials that's found in the front, and about the same size storage pocket, with the air vents in the ceiling and the sound system carrying on into the second row, as well as the large panel moonroof. For the third row, push the button. It will electronically move forward, and Infiniti is claiming 28% more room for the third row, and I can believe it just by looking at it. These are power seat adjustment for the back, USB ports on both sides, air vents. We fold this up here, so that way you can check out the headroom. It's actually a little bit more tight for top to bottom. Adjusting these back so we could check out the leg space. I'm at 6'3", and I think they've done a good job. The autograph will add the appointed and a leather third row, as well as heated third row. Total of 8 USB ports, a home plug, and a 12-volt, 450 horsepower. Let's see how she goes. Back with 516 pound-feet of torque. 3 decimals quieter on the interstate, and when you're in local roads can be up to 4 decimals quieter. Standard digital dynamic suspension. We have the adaptive air suspension because this is the sensory, and that carries on into the autograph, which is the sweet spot, like I was saying, on the exterior and even in the interior. You're getting a lot of value here. The steering is a little bit more light. The seats are a little bit more comfortable. I like that when you get into the autograph, you now get massage seats in the 2nd row and heated 3rd row seats, which when you're considering rival perspective, you're gonna be spending a lot more money to get what you're capturing here, and you're still getting quite a bit of performance because anybody underneath the Germans, this is going to outclass it with horsepower and torque. Towing capabilities is right on par with 8,500 pounds. Technology is there. You have kind of that Cadillac design, smaller screens, but I like that because it's not over the top, empowering everything for technology. I still feel like I'm driving a vehicle. Whenever I get into cars that have these huge screens and they're just all over the place, typically I start feeling like I'm at home, watching a TV screen and using my computer doing YouTube work. When I go into a car, I still want to feel like I'm in a car and still have some of that great performance, and I feel like they've captured it. Performance. Mashing on the gas, it feels good. Slamming on the brake has a little hesitation, and then it grips relatively well. It is a large box on wheels, so for the dynamics that you're getting, it is pretty good. It's going to take me into some pros and cons before we talk about the final reason why I would pick this over the rivals. The pros have to be that everything more or less has been completely redesigned, which when you're talking about redesign and it's 14 years in the making, typically it's about 7 to 8 years for a redesign. So they are past due, but in the same category, at least everything has been tweaked. The engine, the suspension, the transmission, the interior, the technology, and when you get into the autograph, yeah, you're going to be spending more money, but then you're getting biometric heated and ventilated front seats, which means it reads your body temperature to cool you off or warm you up. No vehicle does that, but Infiniti does. And it also has Pro Pilot 2.1, which we're going to activate that now so we can see how well it performs. With this feature, you can let the vehicle more or less take over the driving, so you don't have to be as engaged. But what I've found is even with this system, it kind of lacks the technology of some of the competition because you could really only go about 0.2 to 0.3 miles. But if you own this vehicle, let us know in the comments how far you've been able to travel with it. Some other cons about the vehicle is dropping the V8, no increase in towing capabilities, and I get it. People typically say, well, towing isn't everything, but when you're getting these type of vehicles, you want to tow something. Now, yes, you can tow up to 33 feet long with this, and we now have a 3D view, which is new for Infiniti, and that will make it a lot easier for towing capabilities. But since we have increased the performance in this V6 twin turbo engine, kind of wish we would have increased the towing capabilities as well. And the only problem that I see with the QX80 is that we have a twin turbo V6. When you're talking about a larger vehicle and you're putting a engine that comes out of the Red Sport 400, which was performance derived, not a problem there, but this is also heavier. So I'm interested to see how the longevity goes going into the 2nd and 3rd year of ownership. Taking me to the final reason why I would pick this over the rivals is it literally gives you every single thing that you need for a day in and day out use. It's somewhat practical, and when you get into these large SUVs that are luxurious, you're not really considering MPGs as your first thought, especially when you're at a 6-figure price point. But then when you are talking about performance, it still does it. When you're talking about sound, it takes care of you. You got 24 speakers starting on this trim. Underneath it is 14 speakers, which is still more than enough. And you can option the captain seats on all trims. But let me know what you think about the reasons why I would choose this over the rivals. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Infiniti of Clearwater for giving us this 2025 Infiniti QX80 for our car review.